You see those seeds in my hand? That is all I own in this world, this man keeps saying. He tried to demonstrate his poverty and his gratitude basically because a bag of flour just arrived in his house. And he says, how on earth did you know that I only had those in my house? This woman again, same position. I mean, those people are in a village called Kibwi in a town called Morogoro in Tanzania, which is on the east coast of Africa. It's a place we operate on, so we did something about it. We sent some cash, obviously, and cash arrives, and the guys start loading stuff as usually happens when the cash arrives. It's something we've done before, so we have basic infrastructure for it. A group of volunteers, or sometimes part-time jobs, and that's the magical bag. That is the opportunity of hope. Multiple bags, obviously, multiple donations. A group of people and myself, we've gathered together and we said we needed one for the bucket list. So our choice of the bucket list wasn't an experience or jump from a parachute or whatever. It was a charity act. So we said we wanted to do something that is for our deed bag, and that is what Allah provided for us. We started with a trip 3 years ago to Africa, and we were astonished by the amount of poverty over there. And what we class as poor and what they class as poor is two different levels. 60% of those people go without food, most nights. 60% of hunger, unnecessary hunger. So we started building some basic infrastructure there for ourselves, so we can repeat this safely. And I mean safely, the money that you pay, we actually gets to the point, to the people, those who need it, and not get taxed halfway through by people basically who creates the cash as a cash cow, the money, the charity as a cash cow. We wanted to avoid that. We wanted to have 100% of our donation, or as close as possible to that what we donate or what people donate reaches those people who needs it the most. That is Othman, our guy there. And sometimes obviously you take photos with the place. We insist that every bag of flour goes to a house. There's a single separate photo, and we actually take the time and sit down and count the bags, so we know that 100% of the money went to that position. And then we sent extra cash for the people who did the distribution, and say, well, that's your pay. It's separate from what you got before. I want you to look at those pictures and look at those faces and see the happiness. Sometimes it's not. It's just a bag of sweets, and it goes a long way, believe it or not. Look at those happy faces, the kids and with the lollipop. It's probably the first lollipop they had for a very long time. Now, these activities are not necessarily, just for charity. And this is our hope that we would have a mill like this. This is our next step, so to speak. We'd like to have a mill that's open 24/7 for people, those who need. You can come and get what you need rather than go hungry tonight. That's a different mosque that we operate in. We operate in 10 different mosques. These mosques are, establishments that we've contributed to their construction somehow, and some we built from zero to, and some we just did some flooring works, and we did fix the roofs, and so various, activities that we did in those mosques. Well, it helped us to learn about the people, learn about their needs, and establish a relationship with the imam there. And when we do those distribution, we do them through this network of mosques that we've somehow, as I said, contributed to their construction. And we have basically a hand in in that community. But we make sure that 100% of the bags goes to those who deserve it, well, as much as we can help it, really. And we could guarantee even those who are better well off, are still worthy of our charity pound. It is this bag is not necessarily just a bag of flour. It's a bag of of hope that offers a family, hunger free for a period of time, whether that's a week or a month, depends on the number of people in that house. And it has 13 kilograms of flour in it. It's corn flour. They can make porridge out of it, or chapatis, or whatever it is that they can do that day. And it offers also a sense of community, and it tells those people that somebody out there is caring about you. When that money arrives, the bags of flour arrives, it's like a party, it's like a celebration. Celebration of good deeds, not necessarily just food. The idea that the Muslims care about each other, and the humans care about each other. And it's a random act of so I don't know anybody in those photos, to be honest. I can't relate to any face, but we can relate to the numbers. Basically, what we're distributing is going where it's supposed to go. I have visited those places. As I said, I couldn't honestly say I couldn't remember any of those faces. I probably did see them at some stage when we did those visits, but we've done so many of those visits. Obviously, it's hard to recall what house is what and where is what. Our guy there, Othman, I mean, he seems to be doing well, and he seems to be enjoying it as well, which is probably the best part of what we're doing. We're actually enjoying this. Sadly, we have limited amount of cash, and the group of people who work on this, from the local mosque here, are probably in the same position. They're enjoying what they're doing. As I said, we have a small network of infrastructure there. We have a couple of vehicles that we use, that we purchase for this purpose, and they work part-time as taxis, and part-time they do distributions. So even the vehicles that we use are multitasked. The people who work on this are on part-time wages or on volunteer basis. So, as I said, 99%, 100% of the cash that we donate, that's the vehicle that we use. It seems to be doing the trick. It carries about 30, 40 sacks, I think, and it goes to remote places and places in need. And it's not a big, massive operation we're running. It's a very low-key, small, as much which we can afford, really. But we try to keep it going and alive. Uh, it is one for our bucket list, something that we can show off at the end. And no, it's not a watch, it's not a Maserati, it's not an experience. We're not jumping from parachutes. We're just giving bags of hope to people who needs it the most. And I think that's what bucket list should be about. Not necessarily, these mosques are a house of worship and a house of education. So they're multitasks. They're not just spaces where people sit down and talk to God. Basically, it's more than that. It's a house of assembly and a house of community. And you'd find usually those mosques offer education to 20, 30 kids, whatever it is the community has. And those in need, whether they probably can afford or not, they are welcomed. Thank you, Othman. Thank you for the efforts. Thank you for the photos. Keep up the good work.